Eddington.
Hi, Ari.
Hello.
It's an honor. Congratulations. I think Eddington is such an amazing, a wild ride of a movie experience. Um, I gotta let you know, Chile is one of the only countries in Latin America where the movie is going to be shown in theaters. So blessed us.
Oh, great. I'm happy to hear that.
Ari, I've seen many interviews when someone, after watching your films, ask you, Ari, are you okay? And I think that maybe after watching Eddington, a better question is, are we okay?
Yeah. What do you think the answer is?
I think the answer is, I think the movie functions as a mirror of our incapacity of dialogue, communication, empathy. And I think it also speaks about that bunch of people that I related very much, that are paranoid, anxious, and maybe lonely, that are trying to belong somewhere and they desperately and they can't. What are your thoughts about that?
I think that's right. I think we're all living in different realities, and it's it's very hard to reach each other. Uh, Sometimes it feels impossible. And this movie is about that. It's about uh what what it's like to live in a world where nobody can agree on what is happening. And it's about people who are all siloed off from each other and 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 uh people who are living in different bubbles of certainty. It's about what happens when they start bumping up against each other and the new logic that that creates and how that pushes them deeper into their paranoia and into their isolation.
Eddington has an immense cast, amazing cast from Joaquin Phoenix to Emma Stone to Austin Butler. But you know, Pedro Pascal is something of a national treasure of my country. What made you gravitate towards Pedro to bring to life the character of Ted Garcia?
Well, I think Pedro's a great actor. I had met him before a couple times, and I really liked him, and I wanted to work with him. And he's a very interesting case of somebody who uh, kind of on the internet has become so popular and beloved. And given the fact that this movie was about the internet, and also that the character that he would be playing is a politician and somebody uh, who needs to use the internet and wield it. It just felt like an interesting way to use him, and it felt like you could almost kind of weaponize his baggage in a really interesting way. And then there's also just the fact that Pedro is a tremendous actor and a lovely guy to be around. And it's hard to make a movie, and so you want to be around people who you like and who are good partners, and that certainly describes Pedro.
Were you amazed or surprised with the chemistry between Joaquin Phoenix and Pedro?
I was because they're very different actors who have different methods, but they really liked each other and they really got along, and they kind of brought out the best in each other. I loved shooting those scenes with them, and they really enjoyed it too. I know they did because they both talked about it for a long time afterwards. But you could feel it. Sometimes there's just a chemistry that happens, and you get lucky. Sometimes
Ari,
there's not a chemistry,
yeah.
and that can be interesting too. What that does, uh, that that can create its own kind of magic.
Ari, in the year of the death of the great David Lynch, I always have felt that your work has a surreal edge to it. I saw Boys Afraid, and I was thinking about The Elephant Man, for example, and uh, and it's great that a movie like Eddington comes out the same year. Um, David Lynch, how much is metabolized in your system?
Oh. I can't overstate how important he is to me, how important he was to me growing up. Um, he's an amazing case of a very specific, pretty alienating, strange artist who somehow captured the popular imagination and like and moved into the mainstream. Um, I mean, he made a couple films that really penetrated the culture, like uh I mean, you like especially Blue Velvet. There's Twin Peaks, the show, and I see the shirt you're wearing. There's Mulholland Drive. Um, and a lot of his other films, it took time for people to come around to them, like films like Inland Empire. Like that's a deeply alienating, strange, upsetting, ugly film that means a lot to me. But it's kind of amazing that you know, he had his own language. He was not, like you could maybe see precedents in his work that maybe, came before him. Like, I would say he's working in maybe a tradition that you could tie to Buñuel or Maya Deren, but he was a genuine original, and typically those people uh aren't embraced in their own time. And it's kind of almost in hindsight that people realize how important the work was, but somehow Lynch was able to he there's something approachable and inviting and universal about his work that didn't only reach like, weirdos, but but it somehow spoke to people who would otherwise not go to work like that. So I mean, I I think he's a hero, and uh I find that he's especially for me a liberating influence in that uh I'll often be stuck and I'll remember something that he did, like a gesture or a flourish that shouldn't work and that's not tied to any tradition except for his own, just him following his own impulses. And I'll find that I'll find that frees me to
Right.
come to a new answer for what to do in my own work.
It is essential for audiences to support indie films in theater and not be waiting for streaming or data center, to watch the films. What do you want to say to audiences that are eager, excited to watch your new movie, which is challenging in all the right ways?
Well, the movie's about people living in isolation in their own echo chambers, just, receiving things in a little fortress, right? But in a movie theater, you experience whatever is happening on screen as a community. And especially with a film like this, which is designed to be funny, shocking, scary, it's much better with an audience where you can all go through those things together. There are scenes in the film that, I've watched this with a bunch of audiences. There are scenes where, I have not been in a theater yet that, where people don't gasp at, I would say, two things in particular. And that's fun, And also, the film was designed to be shown on a big screen. I worked in the sound mix for months, working on surround sound, and you can't, unless your setup is very sophisticated at home, you're not going to get that on your TV or on your laptop, or God forbid, on your phone. So this is a movie that is meant to be seen on the big screen with great sound, with other people, and maybe you can leave the theater and have an argument about it with somebody that would otherwise be a stranger to you.
Thank you very much, Ari. It was a great conversation.
Thank you.